All right, guys, moving on, thank you for your patience. Item 9 on the agenda, Chairperson's Report. Also, I'll start off by announcing a public meeting for May the 3rd, 2023, with our plan to authorize the levy of an ad valorem tax. So to get you guys kind of up to speed on what we've been working on in the interim since the last meeting, I had a very good discussion, a phone call meeting, Bill and I, with Pete November, the CEO of Auctioner, and Dr. Hart, who's his physician advisor. And the conversation was very, very, I think, productive and sincere on their part. They stood on the grounds of concern for safety based off of volume of deliveries. And staffing, and again, seemed very sincere about that being the major reason as to why they felt it was necessary to close the OB ward. At that point in time, we broke off into additional discussion about the future. I know, at least from my perspective, there seems to be a large community desire to continue that primary service line. I think it's our goal to do everything that we can do as a board to maintain that or to bring it back. And so the idea was floated about in the future, if we were able to secure certain things, whether or not they would be open, Auctioner, to allowing that unit to be reopened. And the answer was yes. There are certain hurdles that need to be overcome in order to safely operate the unit in their view. We need additional providers, we need adequate staffing, and we need the volume to be sufficient enough to ensure that competency is upheld. And so if those check boxes can be filled, the unit could potentially be reopened. And that brings us to the next, I guess, topic, which is, at this point in time, it's really up to us as a community to decide if this is something we want to pursue, because this will require funding in order to do so. We would like to assist in recruitment efforts, retention efforts for physicians, for nursing staff, etc., to really shore up these primary care services that I feel are so crucial, especially to rural areas. And so moving forward, we will be taking those next steps towards bringing this to the people to make the final decision about whether or not this is something they would like us to pursue for them.
Okay. Let's go ahead and have Chris read into the announcement.
You want to read?
Yeah. So,
Announcement of a public meeting. Notice is hereby given that at its meeting to be held on Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023 at 6:00 p.m. at its regular meeting place, the City of Morgan City, the City Court of Morgan City, located at 7261 Highway 182 East, Morgan City, Louisiana. The Board of Commissioners of Hospital Service District Number 2 of the Parish of St. Mary, State of Louisiana, plans to consider adopting a resolution ordering and calling an election to be held in Hospital Service District Number 2 of the Parish of St. Mary, State of Louisiana, to authorize the levy of an ad valorem tax therein.
Yeah. And we'll be working closely with Auctioner on the details of all of those to bring to you guys at the next meeting. Good. Moving on to item 10 on the agenda, a presentation by Furnace LeBlanc, Bayou Region CEO for Auctioner. Welcome, Furnace.
All right. Thank you all for inviting us to make a few comments. I have a prepared statement. So as you know, on April 1st, Auctioner St. Mary consolidated its labor and delivery services to Auctioner St. Anne. While this consolidation was in the best interest of patient safety, I'm here today to reiterate our commitment to Morgan City and St. Mary. We listened and we heard you. Ochsner is committed to working with the Hospital Service District in creating an outline of the criteria necessary to resume obstetric services at St. Mary in the future. We can only resume obstetrics with the highest quality and safety standards residents in the parish deserve. Meeting the right criteria will allow for a superior birthing experience at Ochsner St. Mary. We like to create an experience for our patients everyone in the parish can be proud of. The emergency department at Ochsner St. Mary will continue to treat patients of all ages. Children meeting appropriate care conditions will continue to stay at Ochsner St. Mary. And we will work with the Hospital Service District, and coupled with community support, we can evaluate how we bring labor and delivery back safely and effectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Furnace. Moving on to item 11, the second public comment period. Does anyone like to make a statement?
Lee Bear, I'm not coming to the podium.
Please. Come on, Miss Lee.
So my question is, if we're going to, well, you've already said you want a tax. So can I get a little bit more information? Like, is that going to be a certain percentage of a tax, or have y'all spoken on exactly how the criteria of this will be? Because no one likes added taxes. So I think it would be a great idea if you all tell us how much this tax is going to be, or a percentage of what it is going to be.
Those are all to be determined. I will tell you that I think our goal as a board is to maintain primary care services. Again, those are most meaningful, especially in rural areas, and OB and pediatrics falls into
Agreed.
that. So those being the lines at most immediate risk would be, I think, the initial focus of any potential tax. But you're right, we need to get more specific as to exactly what this will cover and to the exact dollar amount. Given that we just got a window of a potential reopening as a possibility, because we didn't know that, now we do. And so what we need to do is our due diligence to figure out what that would mean financially, what we would require or need in order to make that potentially happen. But that's going to take some due diligence and some time to figure out. And I think the plan is to have all that squared away to bring to you all at the next meeting. So this is really just the announcement that that is our plan, is to pursue some funding in order to accomplish these things.
Okay, and so realistically, this is April now, so are we talking about a tax within 2023, or we're going to 2024? Do y'all know?
We're planning for October of this year.
Of this year?
We would like to move forward as quickly as possible. I feel as though the more time that lingers, I think there's more slippage. And so if we want to address this problem head on, now is the time.
Okay, and so you think that by the next meeting we'll have more details?
Oh, we certainly will.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
But it's a great question. Any other comments? Speak now, farewell, would you please? Okay, moving on to item 12, discussion and any action relative to the authorization of the chairman to execute an agreement with TCI, the Communication Institute, to assist in public polling and planning for the needs of the community relative to an ad valorem tax.
And you have a proposal in your packets, and recommend that you go ahead with it.
So just,
Is this something we need to sort of describe what it
Yeah,
is
can you
before we
do-
begin?
Sure. So, as part of the process, and to speak to the comments of Ms. Hebert, we have a proposal from the Communications Institute and they're very experienced with dealing with hospital service districts in this exact situation and dealing with a proposed millage, and they would help us with pre-survey, survey, and polling. They use Dr. Silas Lee out of New Orleans for the polling, and compiling data, working with Auctioner in basically focusing on this objective and measuring us to give the process validity and the best possibility of informing the public so that we can have a good outcome.
And I'd say also, especially since we're looking at a shorter timetable, like we were counting down the months and we want to do something in 2023, and approach it with the urgency that it deserves, that, enlisting the help of a company like this to help us fully not only understand all that pertains to the possible millage, but also our relationship with the hospital in general, public opinion, what are services that the community is looking for within our hospital? What are areas that we can improve? Things that we're already doing well? Just a general revitalized access point to understanding the community's relationship with the hospital and vice versa.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to give us critical information for which to move forward with much clearer visual acuity, in my view. And I think it's something that we cannot do without. So we're just looking for a motion.
I make a motion to authorize the chairman to execute an agreement with TCI Communication Institute to assist in public polling and planning in the needs of the community related to the ad vermin tax, ad valorem tax.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on. Item 13, discussion and any action on the status of Grace A. Bear's annual architectural review to make public portions pertaining to cost of maintenance and repairs.
As the board knows, we have had annual architectural evaluations of the facility for many years, and that document, the report, is considered a confidential and strategic planning document. Under the circumstances, I recommend that the board consider voting to release the financial information in the report relative to past expenditures for maintenance and repair of the facility and anticipated expenditures for ongoing maintenance and future repairs. I think it would be good for the public to know we have basically a 42-year-old or thereabouts facility with needs, and it would be beneficial, I think, for the public to be informed relative to this information. Any questions?
No questions. I would just also like to add to it that with this effort of revitalizing trust and relationship between hospital and community, just as transparent as we can be on all fronts, I think the better chance we have of shoring up what we currently have and what we hope to grow to. And I think, in a very literal way, people feeling safe within the structure itself, the structural integrity of the building, and knowing that it's being cared for, upgraded when necessary, where Auctioneer's, going above and beyond in some cases. I think that is an important part of, in a very literal way, rebuilding structural trust.
I agree. I'm just looking for a motion for approval.
I make a motion that we make public the Grace A. Bear annual architectural review.
Only with respect to the financial data.
Only with respect to pertaining to the cost of maintenance and repair items.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 14 on the agenda, discussion and any action relative to plan to have the district's restricted funds rededicated as unrestricted via the election on October 14th, 2023.
Yeah, so I don't think the board necessarily has to take any action on this tonight, but we've known for a long time that one of the funds that the board owns is restricted. It was tax money that was dedicated to the maintenance of the facility and to equipment, and it would be, I think, in this board's interest to have those funds rededicated, if possible, to being unrestricted, so that if you wanted to use those funds on physician recruitment or on community outreach or on other things, those funds could be used for other matters. So that's something that could potentially be put on the ballot on October 14th, along with the other measure. And so we're working with the bond council on that to determine the best, most efficient manner of doing that. Any questions?
No.
Okay. We're going to item 15, discussion and any action on community outreach initiatives and their cooperative endeavor agreements with Ochsner. Dewan?
Good evening. As many of you may know, I am the Community Outreach Coordinator for Ochsner St. Mary. For those who may not know, my name is Dewan Navarre, and I started Ochsner St. Mary in August of 2022, where I've created a very successful outreach program for St. Mary Parish. My focus is to bring the community closer and educate those who are in need of specialized services. My goal is to reach each person one by one. My location is Thibodaux, Louisiana, but I tell you this, my blood runs through St. Mary Parish. With that being said, in August when I started, I did a community event, and when I tell you it drew out more people than I expected. So some of the seminars that I did was a cholesterol seminar, a heart health seminar, thyroid seminar, orthopedic seminar, women's wellness expo, growing up for girls, Christmas on the Bayou, guide to healthy eating. Upcoming events that I have a smoking cessation seminar that I rolled out on yesterday. Our team is participating with the Operation Cleanup for St. Mary on 4/22. And I'm working on a mental health for the youth seminar, which will be held in May, ages 14 through 18. Community outreach. The donations we did from Ochsner was I donated dental kits to the school, which came from the Ochsner System Healthy Schools program. I'm a part of the Ochsner Healthy Schools in collaboration with our Childhood Development Center, where we laid out a 12-part webinar series offered by the Ochsner Bow Center for Childhood Development. This information has been presented to Ochsner St. Mary School System, and if anyone have any questions about that, I can be contacted. The projects that I'm working on. Working with the project manager, which was Lydia Duval, and her staff of St. Mary Parish Healthy Schools program to roll out a few classes for the students in St. Mary Parish, such as Safe Sitter, CPR Health Code, parenting classes, and Eat Fits program. We are also working on job shadowing for the students, pharmacy, ICU, ER, med-surg, rehab, and other various departments within the hospital where we'll have the high school students come in to do a job shadow. I'm also working with our community educator at Ochsner St. Mary to roll out this project. If anyone have any questions about any community outreach events, please contact me at 985-380-4234. Thanks.
Thank you, Dewan. Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
All right. Moving on, item 16 on the agenda, discussion and any action on designations of spokesperson for the board in addition to the chairman for effective communication of the district's pursuit of an ad valorem tax, conducting of town hall meetings, and making presentation to other public bodies.
So currently, Dr. Cefalu is the spokesperson for the board by virtue of being chairman. We also have Ms. Picado as the spokesperson with respect to community outreach. At this point in time, though, with this new initiative, it makes sense to, I think, have a couple of board members designated as additional spokesperson relative to this initiative, because going forward we will have to have, I think, some town hall meetings, and as well as meetings with Parish Council and City of Morgan City, Town of Berwick, Patterson as well. So there was mention of that in the report, the written report, and so I just put that out there for your consideration.
It would be possible for all of us to be considered spokesmen?
Well, that's, I guess, possible. We wouldn't be able to have a quorum at certain events and that sort of thing. But if everyone wants to really be brought up to speed, there's going to be a lot of information to learn, and we want everyone to be informed, and so we can have special meetings relative to that too.
I'm in.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All the ladies? Perfect. Me too. So, do we do a motion? Make a motion to comprise this new outreach board. Board, just spokespersons for the HSD regarding this ad valorem tax.
Make a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. I would like to make a motion to set up a special, what is it?
No, just spokespersons.
I'm sorry?
Just spokespersons.
Spokespersons on the pursuit of the ad valorem tax. That's it?
Yeah, and we designate who you would like to include.
So you want to say me?
Yep.
Okay. Myself, Kendra Thomas.
And Jackie.
And Jackie Shermy. And Angelina.
Okay.
Burkott, I'm sorry.
Any discussions?
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You better not. Motion carries. All right. Prior to adjournment, I'd just like to say a few quick things. I know there's been a lot's been happening, and there's a lot of questions. This came upon us fairly quickly, and I think we are responding to it in the best way possible. I'm encouraged that Ochsner is willing to work with us as a community to continue to provide these services in the future. And now it's up to us as a community to come together to really answer the question, is this something that we want to pursue? And if it is, we as your hospital service district are happy to assist in that regard. And with that being said, I'll move on to adjournment. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for coming. Oh, I thought you never asked.
We have a spokesperson. They may want to hear from you. I'll come back and give over here to me.
And I'm Brady Borrell. We're going to hear from Dr. Cefalu, the chairman of the Hospital Service District, so we can get some more information on that ad valorem tax that they are going to be proposing to obviously underwrite the operations of Ochsner St. Mary Hospital, and apparently try to recruit the OBGYN services back to Ochsner St. Mary. We're going to go ahead and step over here real quick and see if we can catch it. And Dr. Cefalu, the idea of the ad valorem tax that you guys are looking to propose, did that idea come up as a result of the OBGYN services leaving Ochsner St. Mary?
Yes, it absolutely did, and these these millages are fairly commonplace, especially in rural hospitals. It's something that we never pursued in the past up to this point, because we had adequate funding to basically bankroll community outreach and basic community needs. But obviously, the community's needs have changed, and we will need this tax to assist us with recruitment, retention, those types of things to get our OB unit back up and functional.
Even with a large hospital system such as Ochsner taking over the operations, is this still normal for the community to be asked to underwrite those operations with an ad valorem tax?
I think I don't know if this is commonplace. I haven't looked around, but I can tell you that from my understanding of kind of healthcare delivery, especially as it relates to rural communities, we know that rural hospitals are closing across the country at an alarming rate. We were at risk for that prior to Ochsner joining us and partnering with us. And in addition to that, it's getting harder and harder to retain staffing as well as physicians in rural hospitals. And so it's a different paradigm now. It's not like it used to be. Our hospital was built at a time where the hospital did everything. A lot of services have moved into the outpatient world, and so what we're left with is a very large building in need of a lot of repair, and services that have really transitioned to an outpatient type setting by and large. And so what I foresee is if we want to shore up our healthcare delivery as a community, we have got to partner with whoever is running the facility. At this point in time, we have Ochsner, which is the best partner that we can have. And I think it shows good faith on our part to step up as a community and say, yes, you're Ochsner, and yes, you have capital and you have capabilities and resources. But even with those resources, what are we seeing? We're seeing them make decisions based off of safety, based off of, in some cases, financials. And if we can help in that regard to help provide what we all want, then we should absolutely step forward and do that. And that's what our plan is with this ad valorem tax.
Now, would this tax underwrite the operations themselves of the hospital, or these particular programs or services that we need to bring back?
Well, I think all that's on the table. I mean, we have to have further discussions about exactly what the tax will include. I mean, the last thing that I think people want is some very, very broad tax. They want to know what they're getting. And so I think in general what we want to do is obviously go after what prompted this, which is I view as a primary service line issue, which includes OB and pediatrics to an extent. And so I think our goal with any funding would be to revitalize and get that program back up and running, get that service line back up and running. Are there other things that we could utilize funds for? Absolutely. We'll have to have further discussions as a board to determine, how, what else we could potentially add to that would allow us some, leeway to bob and weave, so to speak, and make some decisions as things evolve in the future, even after hopefully an OB service line was back up and running.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sevelu.
Thanks, Brady.
All right. Dr. William Sevelu, Jr., of course, addressing the proposed ad valorem tax that they are looking to propose or put on the ballot. They're looking at maybe later in the year in October. As we get more information